Hi, everyone. Okay, one last check. Lindsay, Eleanor, can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, please tell me if it lags or it freezes because my laptop sounds like it's about to take off. But thank you all for joining. It's a pleasure to be able to put this little workshop together for all of you. I did save time, as Lindsay mentioned, at the end, hopefully for some questions. So Lindsay, you're gonna have to cut me off at like the last 10-minute mark because I do have a tendency to talk too much, as Ali, Lindsay, and Eleanor could probably confirm. So I'll just jump in. Feel free to, as Lindsay mentioned, drop your questions in the chat so that you don't forget them, and then we can get to them. If we don't get through all of them, if there's a lot, I'm happy to kind of send the follow-up, or you can send me an email and we can keep chatting about it. And then also, I don't know if you saw in a reminder email or not, but I'm happy to do kind of quick social media evaluations and 1-hour brainstorm sessions with 2 participants that joined our webinar today. So Lindsay will be kind of taking the list of everyone who's joined the workshop today. We'll pick 2 names at random. We'll reach out to you if you want it. Happy to do it. If not, we'll just pick another name, and then I can have a 1-hour session with whoever would like, and we can chat a little bit more deeply about some of their questions, look at their accounts, and all that fun stuff. So I will jump right in. Introduce myself. I am Crystal Agostino. Some of you might know me. I'm one of the appointed board directors for Visit the County as a destination marketing and management organization. I'm also very honored to be the marketing chair on the board. And so I work with this beautiful team here on all things marketing and communications. A little bit about my background so you get a sense of where I'm coming from. I've specialized my career in brand marketing, experience design, and storytelling across different media. So whether that's digital, social, print, you name it. And I've also focused my career in luxury and lifestyle brands, and very specifically with the traveler as an audience. So I've worked at the corporate office at Fairmont Hotels in the brand team, worked on global partnerships, creating guest experiences from everyone from Abbey Road Studios and Reebok and BMW and Napa Valley Vintners, and really creating really beautiful experiences for guests, and then also working on the storytelling aspect of that. So I led the magazine, the Fairmont magazine at the time. Then in my other roles, I've worked on other magazines and other digital websites, digital magazines and social media accounts, and really working with brands to truly tell their story in lots of different ways, whether that's through experience, whether that's digitally, online, or in print. And then most recently, I was publisher of En Route Media. So that's Air Canada's En Route magazine that you would see on board, the in-flight entertainment, the digital space, the website, social media, all that fun stuff. So I bring all of that background kind of to the table when I've created this workshop for you. And very specifically, this workshop focuses on businesses trying to cater to a traveler audience. But I understand that we have different participants here, that whether you're an accommodator, whether you're an artist, whether you're a restaurant, a winery, a brewery, all of these things will apply to you for all of your audience, but very specifically for the traveler in mind. All right. So what we'll go through today is just a quick little bit of theory of like what social media means to the traveler today, that it's truly the traveler's field guide. Then we'll go into that essentials for social media in a more technical way. I call it the good housekeeping part. We'll jump into great storytelling, how to do it. I end with some tips and tricks and some ways to kind of get you off the ground when it comes to execution. And then we'll have time for questions, hopefully. So I'll barrel through all of this. This comes from a really great Expedia report that came out. It was, I think the report's called The Traveler's Path to Purchase. It's a very recent report. If you Google it, Expedia Group Path to Purchase report, it's like 60 pages, very interesting. But I thought this graph right here really captured the value of social media when it came to the traveler. And so what you see here, this lovely little pink line that's at the top of everything, that is social media. And this is really across, the destination site, which would be your destination organization, search engines. So, everybody always worries about SEO, websites, SEO. Yes, but just look how much higher social media is on the scale over SEO. OTAs is your Expedias of the world, bookings.com. Just to give you a sense, Meta travel site, that's the Trivagos of the world, where they just aggregate lots of different things. So again, when it comes to inspiration, research especially, social media has the highest usage rate. We spend hours as travelers planning our trips, mostly daydreaming, but daydreaming and planning our trips and deciding what to book, what to purchase, where to spend our dollars, especially in the 30 to 45 days prior to our trip. That is heightened. There's a lot of hours being spent there. And you could see through this graph that the majority is spent through social media. So even if we do all our best to be, have the best website, have our listings or our experiences for an accommodator, for example, on whatever booking platforms we're using, we put all this time and effort into it, but there's no more time left for social media. I feel like we're missing out a big chunk of visibility to the traveler throughout their whole process before having their trip. And the way they use social media these days has changed compared to in the past. The past, we started using social media for our friends and family. Now it's gone so far as you saw in the graph, it's well above Google search, right? So that means that people are using social media as Google, as their search. So even before they've chosen a destination, when they're kind of, wavering between destinations, and that's a lot of our Visit the County platforms worry and task at hand and challenge, they're quite literally searching Prince Edward County or Niagara on the Lake or whatever destination they're looking at. They're searching it in the search bar of their social media platforms and seeing what comes out. So that's really on the inspiration side. So for us and our jobs as operators who want to get in front of this audience, it's our task to figure out how to get in that search result page and to kind of pull them down to our account. So for the purpose of this workshop, I'm really going to be talking about and focusing on Instagram specifically, because that is really where the traveler is spending a lot of their time in the travel planning stage. Less Facebook. Facebook is really, when it comes to the traveler, used quite often when it comes to family recommendations, friends recommendations, where they're seeing their family and friends pictures and content from their trips. So they're getting that a lot. They're spending a lot of time on Facebook in groups. So group specific, small closed groups or open groups, whether it's mommy groups or friend group, whatever it is, that could be generic, large buy-sell groups. I'm big into buy-sell. So yes, mommy groups, all that kind of stuff. They will be getting some traveler inspiration there, but they're not quite using Facebook that as much as like the search engine we're talking about. They're really spending a lot of their time on Instagram. And then I hate to say it, but it's growing, and a lot of them are using that same search kind of behavior on Sarah just sent an email about logging in, just FYI, Lindsay. Sorry. They're really trying that search behavior on TikTok as well as Instagram. There's a little bit being done on Pinterest. So if you do enjoy Pinterest, if it's working for you, by all means. But really the time, the behavior is really happening on Instagram first, then TikTok, and then the Pinterest and the Facebooks of the world, and also YouTube. But again, that's very overwhelming. So the point of the webinar today is really to say, like, if you don't have all the time in the world, because none of us do, where to focus your energy. So we're going to try to focus our energy on Instagram for this webinar, and also in your mindset as you're planning your time and your sanity as well. So how they're using, for example, Instagram and TikTok, they're using social media to be inspired. So it's really about discoverability. But again, this is, we're thinking of the psyche of the traveler here. This is where you're romancing them. You're kind of pretend this is a relationship. You're wooing them to enjoy you, you want to get to know you more. First impressions count. So really, romancing is a term I like to use here. That beautiful content that Ali does so well on Visit the County's platforms, but really that kind of mood, emotional type content is very important at this time in their planning process. They're also using social media, again, very visual, right? They're also using social media for vetting. So even if they've found you through an OTA, the Airbnbs of the world, an article they've seen, an influencer, even through Visit the County, now they're coming to your account to vet you in a sense of, am I getting all the information I need? Is this the right fit for me, for my experience that I'm looking for my brand values as a person, for my group, my needs, all of that. So there is some information gathering happening on social media. We'll go into that in a little bit. And then they're also using social media, which is, again, newer of what we're seeing lately, but happening quite frequently, and a broad group. And I think when it comes to millennials and Gen Z, it's the majority of them are doing this. They're planning their trips on social media. There's a reason why the Instagrams of the world have the save functionality and the share functionality. When it comes to travel, this is all happening. They're not really Pinterest. Some people are doing Pinterest boards, but their collection, like their bulletin board of what they want to do on their trip, is quite often happening in app. So they're creating saves and collections of what they want to do, what their inspirations are. So creating content with that in mind is very important. But let's jump into the essentials. Basically, what I'm trying to explain to you guys is your social account is the new website. Some people, depending on their business, don't even have a website anymore. Their URL drives straight to their social media account. Not to say you should do this, because it's a very specific thing to do, but that's just how flexible, useful that these social media accounts have become, especially for the traveler type businesses. So whatever energy you've put into your website, or whatever focus you put in your website, social media when it comes to travelers is more important, if not equally important, than your website. So if anyone has kind of gone down this path, even tried to Google how to be a good Instagrammer, all that stuff, the overwhelming thing you hear is lots of content, post every day. Ali's probably gonna like this. Post multiple times a day, it's a lot. It's very overwhelming. And that's actually not the full truth. Yes, we call it the algorithm. So it's that robot in the background of the Instagrams that decide what's interesting, what's not, who to show what content to. Very important. And yes, if you feed the monster every day, it does like you more. Yes. But if you don't feed it the right things, you could be burning yourself out with trying to produce a lot of things, and you won't get any results from it. So my truth and what I've seen actually happen with clients and different platforms I've used, you're much better to do your good housekeeping, make sure that you're on brand, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that you're actually providing information also while being entertaining and visually compelling. If you've done that, and you don't even post very frequently, you've done the kind of foundational work of being compelling, being consistent on brand, looking and feeling like buttoned up and top notch, and you're providing the right information, your account will work better for you than if you ran yourself ragged, posting every day with no strategy. A good exercise that I like to kind of give everyone is pretend you're a new customer. You've never gone to your website. You've never heard about you before. This is the first impression they're getting of you. Maybe they heard about you somewhere, but this is the first time they're actually kind of delving into you, who you are as a brand. Does your Instagram or Facebook account or TikTok account, does it sell you properly? Because sometimes when you look at our accounts, it's almost like whatever's our last post, whatever our last thing is, that's kind of what the first impression is. That's not what we should be looking at when it comes to our social media account. It's really, is the right information there? Does it answer all the questions? And and we call it conversion, but does it enable your audience to purchase, or whatever your purchase is, right? Get them to do what you want them to do very quickly in 1 or 2 clicks, not 8. So if you're trying to sell a ticket to something, but you're sending them to a website that is a broad web page, they would have to click 5 times to actually buy the ticket. That means there's too many clicks. So those are kind of the check marks you have to look at in your head when you're evaluating your account. I'm going to go into a little more detailed tips and tricks. Again, this is foundation work. If you do these things and never touch your account again for the next few months, you'll be better off than if you don't do this. A searchable username. Make sure your username makes sense to people, is searchable, and it has the possibility of getting found in a search result. The next thing you have to think about is your business name. All of these accounts give you a username, which is your handle. It also gives you space for a business name. You're not alone. 90% of people do this. They just copy their username into their business name, thinking that's my business name. But truly, if you went and tried on your phone right now, if you typed your business name in to try to get found, you would see your handle, your username there. You would see your profile picture and your business name. Your business name is almost always next to your handle, your username. So it's wonderful real estate that we're kind of wasting by being redundant and just saying the same thing that's in our username. Use your business name, real estate, to further confirm who you are, what you are. So if you have the name of your accommodation or your art gallery or your brewery as your username, use your business name to explain what you are. Are you a brewery? Are you an art gallery? Are you an accommodator? Put that in, and then also, if you have space, put in your location. So that way, it's when you're being searched for, the connection of the dots in your audience mind is happening instantaneously, and your profile picture is very important. It's your first impression. It shows up in that drop down of search. Whether it's your logo, that's great because it's like a visual representation of your name. And if you don't have the logo, if it's not kind of working for you, you don't know if you want to change it or not, use a really beautiful photo or imagery that is like top-notch first impression. Mood, vibe, I know I'm saying that a lot. It's the word vibe. There's a research that said the word vibe is skyrocketed in traveler reviews. Everybody's talking about vibe and atmosphere. That's what people are searching for these days. So everything has to be on vibe, on mood, and on brand. So those three things, number one, table stakes. Your second thing to look down is your bio. Is your bio entertaining and delighting them? Is it being informative? If it's kind of falling flat, again, it's wasted real estate space. Explain, if you're an accommodator, what kind of accommodations you are. Are you family friendly? Are you this? Are you is there a unique selling point that's easy to put in your bio? That's a good thing. Where if your location is key, if there's something amazing that you have a pool, or if you're a brewery and you have an award-winning brew, that's where you would put in your bio to really sell it. You know, that elevator pitch version of yourself. And then the link portion, a lot of us are dropping the ball a little bit because our links, again, are not being helpful. So use things. Sometimes there's free Linktree is a free thing. You can also pay for it. The app also, like Instagram, provides certain types of accounts with multiple links. Again, not too many. You don't want to give people 15 links to choose from, but 3 to 5, especially if you have like house tour or brewery tour or gallery tour. That would be a nice link because, again, you're selling it. It's your brochure. But then if you want to sell tickets to something, or if you want, or there's a really great article that was done about you, that would be another link. Again, you like leverage what you've got to sell yourself. Navigation. Oh my God, I'm not gonna have time for this whole presentation. But anyways, this is very important. Navigation, your highlights. So these are technical things. If you have these questions, we can talk offline about this. But when you post a story, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you have a chance to collect these and save them as highlights. A lot of us have the word highlight, first of all, as a name, not right. Use these highlight collections almost as navigation to your website. So if you're, again, house tour, FAQs, reviews, about us, press, whatever, use all of those as if they are different parts of your menu on a website, things you really want to sell to people. Some of your best pieces as an artist, or the latest gallery exhibit you've had. Like, those are things that are really going to sell you to people. Have those as collections of highlights versus a lot of people use highlights of like, they save everything. So it's quite literally chronological thing of all their stories they've shared, reshared. That's not it. It has to be very purposeful what your highlights are. An important thing is if you have a very important highlight that you feel like, oh, this gets a lot of views, this is an important thing, whether it's an FAQ or a house tour or whatever. If you don't update it frequently, it gets pushed to the back of your highlights. So if you have 10 highlights, it goes to the very end and it's not the first thing people see. Go into that highlight regularly, fake update it, add a post, remove a post, fakely. You don't actually have to update it. It will take that highlight, bring it to the front. So your top 3, 4 highlights are very important. Make them work for you. And then the last thing is, I'm going to be talking way too long, your first 12 to 27 posts on your grid. This is not a bulletin board with flyers. This is not a chronological photo album of your life. This is a sales tool. Make sure that those first 12 to 27 tiles, those posts on your homepage, really sell you. So if you did post a flyer-ish type of piece of content, which they don't perform very well online. Remove them once they're irrelevant. We don't want them anymore. Make sure those first 27, that kind of initial scroll really sells you. And there's a way to also pin. It's a format. You can choose your post that you really love, that are like the wow photos of you. You pin the top 3 to the top of your grid. So no matter what you post, those 3 posts are at the top. They're your best shots, your pride and joy of your content. Keep those up there. And then the final little quick tip about this, I mentioned that people are using social media as vetting tools. A common thing that users are doing that they don't even realize they're doing, they're checking your tagged photos. It's like the double check. Is this real? Is this what it actually looks like there? Let me see what other users, travelers, guests are photographing, what it looks like. What does the traveler photo on the TripAdvisor really look like? This is how they're doing to vetting. So make sure that your tagged photos also sell you well. If there's something you don't like or is spam, remove yourself from that post because it's not helping you. Okay, I spent time on this because it was the essentials. So that's kind of setting up your shop, the good housekeeping, making sure your website, your social account really works well. The next thing is, oh my gosh, now content. There's so much to focus on. What do I do? Do I post live sessions? Do I post this? Here are the 3 areas I would work with. Number 1, again, I said this, posting every day is not going to get you anywhere, especially if you have 100 followers, especially if you have 2,000 followers, especially if you have 10,000 followers. You're not going to get fresh eyeballs. You're not going to get too far. It's hard to become viral and get a lot of views and really make this work for you without a ton of followers. Like, we're looking at Visit the County, we have, was it 36,000 followers? Like, that's a nice critical mass of followers to really do things well. But even we do spend on ads. So I do recommend, as a small business, if you have 5 followers, if you have 500 followers, if you have 5,000 followers, it is worth spending on ads. And we're not talking a lot of dollars here. We're talking $3 to $5 a day, maybe 10 if you're being frisky. But let's call it $3 to $5 a day. The one thing I would say is please don't do short ad campaigns because you won't get any results. It takes a good week for the algorithm robots to understand your content and understand who really likes your content. So when I talk to my clients, I always say a minimum of 3 weeks for a campaign. So we're talking, let's say $3 a day, or minimum of like $60-ish budget, which is not much. Is that the right math? 320? Yeah. A minimum of $60 budget to try something out, because you'll see in the back half of that 3-week time frame, like the last 10 days, is where you'll see a lot of more engagement, more traffic, more clicks, whatever you're trying to get them to do. And you also see if something's working or not, because sometimes you can do that $60. It won't do. We can have a session about ads probably, but just so you know, it's worth spending a longer time analyzing how things are going with an ad versus trying something out for 5 days or a week. I'll stop that there. We'll do a follow-up session. Next thing to focus on is what type of content. Video works better than images, like still images. So I know that's scary, but when I say video, I'm not talking about the wonderful things that we've created, the Visit the County, which is an interview and you're going somewhere. As simple as a 3-second image or video of your space. If you're an artist, something you're creating, like a video of you in creation mode, quite literally 3 to 5 seconds, like, keep your camera even on a tripod. You don't have to move. Actually, I prefer you don't move. I'd rather you never move. Zoom in if you have to and try not to move. But those kind of videos perform better than a photo. So if you're going to spend time doing anything, try videos. If you have iPhones, I think cinematic mode, all of those are great. If you really want to be an expert at this, the 15-second mark up to 45 seconds on Instagram is the sweet spot. TikTok, you can go longer. But that's harder to create. It's more work. Audio is becoming more and more important. Choosing a nice audio to pair with your video. Instagram, for example, makes it so easy. It has a ton of audio for you. You don't have to record anything. It's in the app. And trending music is even better because the app understands people like this song. Okay, I'll show this person's video to more people because they chose the same song that's doing well elsewhere. So go into the app, click on Reels, like post a reel, Go into templates, go into audio, or when you're on the app looking at other people's things, pay attention to what audio they're using. There's a way for you to save that for the future. You can use that in the future. I think what's important to know about audio, again, brand is probably another workshop I could do, but make sure that it's audio that works for you and your brand. If you're trying to be a relaxing brand, then a super crazy, funky, loud music's not going to work for you, even though it's doing well on Instagram. So make sure it makes sense with your mood and your vibe. And then again, with video, the first 2 to 3 seconds are important. If your video doesn't make sense, is not interesting, doesn't grab attention in the first 2 seconds, you're going to lose everything. And then if you're deciding what should I do and you're comfortable with it, human faces get better engagement and get more results than videos without human faces on it. So if you're an artist, that's really great, and especially like showing hands. If you're a restaurant or a brewery, saying, hi, I'm going to give you a tour of our place, and then move into your tour, having your face on there for the first 2 seconds. Great. And there's lots of hooks, you know. Can you believe what just happened to us? Great hook. People go, no, what? I need to pay more attention. And then you go into your video. So there's lots of ways to do that. The other space is stories, which I mentioned a lot about. So we talked about highlights, making sure that's navigation. But I think the important part is you can reshare other people's content, like Visit the County's content, reshare it so it gives them credit as a story, and that you know that your audiences will enjoy that. And it shows the Instagram people that you're active on your account, you're spending time with the account, so it's good for the algorithm as well. Okay, storytelling, I will fly through this. What type of content, what kind of storytelling? Think about your brand. As I said, it's important to make sure that you're, if you're an energetic, family-friendly type of establishment, then maybe you stay away from super relaxing, monochromatic type of content. So you want to make sure you're on brand. That's number one. But you should always look at your mix of content. You should have 3 types of content. These are the 3 types. Awareness and interest content. So that's the mood, the daydream, the romancing of the person. It's the first impression. Insider point of view, storytelling, getting to know me as the business operator, all that kind of stuff. You're building your relationship. You're going from a cold contact to warming them up to you, right? And that's I talked about this. I was talking about the marketing funnel, but that's like your top of your funnel. You're just bringing people in to decide if they want to spend more time with you. So that's a very more emotional type of content. You need to have that in your mix no matter what. I do think this is obviously the type of content that works really well too. So use ads. If you don't know how to do really great moods, bring on influencers. There's lots of times to work with other people who create beautiful things in exchange for a discount, an experience, especially during off season, things like that. And you can use their content 6 months later if you need to. I'm just saying, like, you don't need to use them the day that they come and take it. But this is a really good time to be bringing those people in. User generated content. If somebody, a buyer or a guest of yours has really beautiful content, try to say, hey, can I use this? This is really important content. It needs to be visually beautiful. So if you don't feel comfortable with the camera, this is where you're trying to get collaborators in a sense. Conversion is a little more analytical, a little less emotional, although sometimes it is, but more analytical. Is this something I need, I want, I'm going to convert? So make sure you have content that gives information. If you're an accommodator, we have this really cool sauna. We have air conditioning that were perfect for families. We have high chairs. All like it sounds boring, but that's content you need. And so there's a lot of that's worth thinking through when you're like, oh gosh, I don't know what content to create. Think of the information, think of the FAQs. Let's create videos for all those FAQs. Very, very important. And this is also where you would do promos, loyalty type things as well, or ease of booking. Here's how to book, drive them to your link. That's the type, you need that kind of content. If you just do mood content and none of this content, you're also not kind of benefiting from everything. And then finally, the loyalty, referral, ambassadorship recommendation stage, you need that kind of content too for that word of mouth sharing as well. And for them, once they've followed you, once they've spent time with you, they might not have experienced you and they might not have purchased with you yet, but they're in your world. That's where you really want to spend time on the relationship. The point of view, insider things, getting to know you more, talking about things that matter to you for your brand? What do you guys value? Do you value craftsmanship? Do you value sustainability? Having that type of content really tells the audience, yep, these are my people. I want to spend time with this operator. So you also have to have a balance of this kind of content. And this is also like behind the scenes, insiders tips. The cool thing about the travel space is that it's so great to be recommending and pretending you're like the expert of your destination. So you might be a brewery, but there's nothing stopping you from saying my favorite things to do in the county, my favorite this, my top 10 artisans, my top 10, so whatever, your top things, your recommendations, all of that is content that solidifies the audience saying, yeah, I like these people. This is my kind of people. And again, you're cozying up to them as from a relationship perspective. I've said this a few times, the goals with any type of content, consistent brand. If you are a brand that is really about humor and funniness and this and that, and if you shift to very serious conversation, that's going to be jarring to people. So even if you have something serious to say, you need to put some personality into it. You need to put some humor to it. If you're a very serious brand and you're very, that's important to you, you might be a physician or whatever, again, or there's something very important about you're serious or you're elegant, you're sophisticated, but then you share a Barbie meme or something ridiculous. It's fun. It's fun for the audience, but it's confusing for them. So stay on brand and stay on mood. Try to create a mood. That's really important. The hook, whether it is a photo, whether it's a video, make sure that think about somebody scrolling, what's going to stop them? So if you are taking a beautiful photo, sometimes it's great to take a photo that kind of has the question mark to it of like, what am I looking at? That stops people in their tracks and makes them look at your photo. The hook of a video, first 2-3 seconds test. Don't watch anything else of your video. What does that make me stop? That's what's important to you, because sometimes we put the hook 10 seconds in, or some beautiful thing 10 seconds. And even if it is something beautiful, the hook should be in text, guess what's around the corner? And then a few seconds later, but the hook is the question mark. So think about that. The first 2-3 seconds doesn't make people want to stay with me. And then production value is really important. This is a very visual platform. If you feel like your photography is not great, there's some tips and tricks, but otherwise you might have to work with a team member or a collaborator, a neighbor, that kind of stuff to really help you with that. But some quick tricks, I always love natural light. If you're gonna take a picture of anything, unless it's a very dark room, turn off all the lights. I know it sounds bizarre, but our cameras these days have such great lenses. They capture so much more light than we see as human eyes. Turn off all the lights, because electric lights make a photo look amateurish. It's a little trick that people don't really realize. Use portrait mode, use cinematic mode. Most iPhones all have cinematic mode. It makes your videos look like you're a professional. And then again, use things like Canva's filters if you need to, but don't get too mimicky. And another thing, there's nothing stopping you from getting free, because you can buy it too, but free stock photos, free stock videos that make sense for your brand. It's a lot of content. Sometimes you're like, you know what, I wish I just had like 10 to 15 really wow photos so that I can get my message out. There's lots of websites out there, like Unsplash is one, Pexels is another. They have a lot of free video, free, like big $0 free. They also have video and imagery. So you can type in things like travel planning. You might get like a photo of a map and binoculars, and okay, it's fine, it's not exactly your location, but it's really beautiful shot. It's a really great content. You might have a stock video of a sky with clouds moving gently. It could be anyone's sky. That's the kind of content you need, and it's professional and it looks great. It's the mood that you're trying to come across. Somebody bicycling through a forest, that could be any forest. Like you use your judgment of what works, but there's lots of really great content out there for free. Go into it and use it. Tips and tricks. Okay, I'm not that far off time. So tips and tricks, I have two sections of it. The rumor has it, because there's lots of people on social media giving you rumors of what works and what doesn't work, but this is kind of the fundamental things that will work no matter what. Keywords and captions, I think, are very important. As I mentioned, behavior has turned to less of just looking at my friends and family accounts to I'm using Instagram as my Google search now. So making sure that your posts, first of all, that your account is not private. That's number one. You want to be public. But making sure that your posts will get found. So if you're an artist, maybe in your post, in the body text of your post, or even when you drop text into your video, if you say things, because this is so creepy, but Instagram is listening and capturing all the words in our audio and using that for search as well. But if you're an artist, make sure you say artist, 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 artist a lot. Make sure you put your location and say, I'm an artist in Prince Edward County, very short drive from Toronto, all of that kind of stuff, local artist, all of that. When people type in local artist Prince Edward County, you'll have a better chance of showing up. Brewery Prince Edward County, all of those kind of things. Best beer, best location, using different, not location, best experience in the county, family-friendly Prince Edward County. That's something that lots of people will be searching for. Make sure you're including those in the words of your videos, because in your video, you also have words and also in your images. I'll go into this a little bit later. Hashtags are not, we used to think, oh my God, the only way people search is through hashtags. They've changed that. So yes, people still use hashtags sometimes when they search, but Instagram will still find that word in your text, even if you didn't put a hashtag next to it. So if you wrote the word artist and didn't put hashtag artist, you will still get pulled into the search results. So that's better these days. Leverage things that are trending, because again, the algorithm knows that, oh my God, every time people see this template, so there's lots of templates of reels. You'll notice it if you spend time on the app, that there's a lot of people that their videos are different, but they all have the same format, the same pace, the same rhythm, and the same music. That is a pre-done template for you, where all the work has been done. So when you click on new reel, new video, you can click on template, and it has a collection of videos for you to go through. All you need to do is drop videos into it, and it's pre-cut and pre-done for you. And it's pretty shocking how some of these things really turn really well. So that's good, because it's been tested, and the algorithm be like, oh, well, it worked 1,000 other times before. Let me show this video a little bit more than I would normally. That's all good things to work with. Editing in app. So again, all of the extra stuff you need to fill out when you're posting something, it's there for a reason. It's to help Instagram and Facebook and TikTok serve you up to the right audiences. So add your location. There's certain like tags where they say, what kind of topics is this for? Make sure you put the 3 topics in. Use their functionalities, use a poll, use stickers, use whatever you can. Tag other people, tag Visit the County, for example, tag your neighbors or other artists, whatever it might be. And then there's also a new collaboration mode. That's something for you all, especially amongst yourselves. Like if you're a group of artists or a group of B&Bs, or even partners, if you have a certain brand that you're using on property, a certain other, like a collaboration of some sort, you should also include them as collaborators. It's a really specific term, it's collaborator, on your video, because that'll show up on their account too, and then their audiences will see it. If other people would like to collaborate with you and they're good at creating content, that's wonderful, because they're going to post it, they'll collaborate with you, and it'll show up on your account as well. All wonderful things. And then the other piece is engage with your audience. I think, again, I said faces do better than almost anything else. Pretty much, like, unless you're a wonderful cinematographer. But if you just put your face in front of the camera and talk, and it makes sense, it's on brand for you, you're being honest, it's an insider point of view, that'll do well. But also engaging with the audience, asking them questions, saying, what do you think about this? Or showing them 2 options of things. Which do you think I went with? Running polls, or saying, these are my 3 most favorite new businesses in the county. Make sure you save this, and then people are going to save it. So it's encouraging them to interact with you. There's the gimmicky stuff of like, I'm going to make more videos if I get 100 likes. Fine. You can try those things. They're a little bit more gimmicky, but like more true things of engaging with them, of saying, guess what this is? So in their minds, they're going to be like, what is this? And it's some ingredient that nobody has heard of before that you're going to include in your restaurant menu dish, all that kind of stuff. Engage their minds and engage them. That'll help them stay connected to you. And if you're asking them a question, they'll most probably put it in the comments, and share it, save it, that kind of stuff. So those are all very important things. Oh, here. Rumor has it. This is the stuff again. Now this is level 4 here if you're getting really into it, which I clearly am. But if you're listening to all the experts are saying on social media and all that kind of stuff, here's what people are saying. So take it with a grain of salt. It kind of makes sense, but timing is everything. So some people say you have to post early in the morning so that the algorithm shows your content to as much people as possible. So schedule your post. Don't wake up at the time unless you're me and you have a 1-year-old and they wake you up at 5, but that's a different story. Schedule your post for 5 a.m. You'll get much more engagement. That's a rumor that's happening. Possible, very possible. The other thing that I feel a little more comfortable with is be online in the first 15 to 30 minutes of you posting. So maybe don't post at 5 a.m. Post at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., whatever you post. Post when you post, but be in the app for the first 15 minutes at least and try to engage with people. So if somebody writes a comment, like it right away, reply to it right away. Tell your friends to like your stuff in the first 15 minutes because it's, from what I hear, it's like the test time of the algorithm saying, do people like this or not? So they're kind of analyzing you for the first 15 to 30 minutes of your post saying, is this performing well? Yes or no? So if you really want something to try it out, get your friends to like it, spend time in the app. If somebody sends you a message, respond to them right away, all that kind of stuff. Just be active, be engaged. That I actually believe in a little bit more because you're trying to get your baby off on the right spot. Hashtag stuffing is also a term that everybody's using. There used to be a time where having 30 hashtags was the thing to do at the bottom of your text. Apparently that's a no-no now these days because, as I mentioned, the search is now pulling all different words, not hashtags. So when you provide too many hashtags at the end of a post, rumor has it that it's saying you're trying to scam the system. So they're docking you points for that. Something to think about. I think using 3 to 5 more than fine. It's not stuffing. Trending audio, again, I said that's good because it's like a logical thing. That's also the big rumor that's out there. The other things that I'm hearing a lot, and I've actually heard some crazy stories of it, is that Instagram and the Facebooks of the world are rewarding people who spend a little money with them because they're trying to tell you like, oh yeah, it's worth spending money with us. So I've heard of accounts that just have exploded and skyrocketed because there's a functionality that you boosted. Yes, sometimes you see a sponsored ad or a boosted ad. Sometimes you'll come across suggested for you. And that is not money. That is literally Instagram saying, hey, I think you'll like this. You don't follow them, but I think you'll like this. Rumor has it that people who do a little bit of money in ads, I'm talking like the $3 to $5 a day kind of ads, they all of a sudden kind of see better engagement in everything they post, not just the ad. That's one of the rumors out there. Another rumor I'm hearing, which I kind of believe, is people with content that are shared in private messages a lot. So a lot of memes. Memes are those kind of jokey, spoofy kind of things that make you chuckle. Those things, the new behavior we're seeing these days, especially with younger generations, but even our own, is people are sharing funny things or interesting things in private messages. So Instagram understands this, and TikTok and all that, Facebook. So that content piece that's being shared a lot. So for us, it's great of like top things to do in the county, tips, you name it, or just really beautiful emotionally thing, or like things that make you feel happy, things that make you feel beautiful, or things that are beautiful that make you go, wow. Those things are oftentimes shared amongst friends and amongst family. Then Instagram goes, oh, this is interesting stuff because it's being shared in private messages. We're also going to show it to more people. That's another rumor that's out there. This other rumor, I don't know if I believe it totally, but really spending time in the app versus using another platform and then just kind of popping it in the app. Apparently, Instagram likes you more if you spend time. So if you're typing out the words in the app versus typing it in your notes and then copy pasting in the app, apparently Again, these are all little rumor has it stuff. So if you're really gung-ho and really getting into the social media game, these are some tricks you can try. And then to finish off, smooth execution, I think, is really key. How do the agencies do it? How do the social media teams who are have 6, 7, 10 clients that are need to pump content out? What they do is they create content pillars. So we had our 3 that we talked about, right? The types of content mix you want to have. You want to have the dreamy, romancing them kind of content. You want the more analytical reasons why you need to book with us. And then the real putting in the time and energy in our relationship. You know me already, get to know me more and get to know what I stand for. So make sure you have those pillars. And then I think formats are really interesting for all of you to try out, especially if you're starting out in this whole game or want to up your game. Say, you know what, I'm going to try this kind of on-camera thing, talk about the best thing I've seen this week in the county. And that's your format. And you try it out for 3 to 5 days, weeks, whichever kind of frequency you want to do. Give it a try. Not just one video of the same kind of way. Try 3 to 5 of the same format videos over time and try different formats, because some accounts really do well with some formats. And then that's all they end up doing. They mix it up a little, but they really go big on a certain format. Maybe, especially if you're an artist, if you're a chef or there's a chef on your team, maybe your format is the making of, right? Just it's not a person on screen, it's just beautiful imagery of the creation of something. That's a format. Maybe if you're an accommodator, your format is, I don't know, something silly like my favorite corner of this house or B&B at different hours of the day. And so it's like different natural light kind of thing. That's your format. It's a different time every week. Try out different formats and your different pillars and then test it out. So again, this feels overwhelming because it's like, oh, it's a lot of work. I'm not saying make sure you're posting all these things all the time. It's over time. Try to get a sense of that you're testing something. So this could be, you post once a week, you post maybe once every other week, fine, that's totally fine. Again, if you've done your good housekeeping and your website looks great, I'd much rather you put more time into creating wow content than just spewing out content and nothing is working. But if you do create a little more volume, this is what I recommend. And then batch it. Batch creation is the thing that everybody in agencies do. They don't just start afresh every day. They decide that, let's say that on camera, this is my favorite thing in the county, this is my favorite thing to do. They'll do 10 of the same 10 videos in one sitting and cut it up, and then they have 10 pieces of content out of that. So that's a good way to pre-schedule, pre-plan all your workload for the rest of the month. You'd be like, look, I just sat down in front of a camera, told the camera, these are my favorite things in the county, my favorite restaurant. I have all these different topics, and I've created 10 pieces of content in one sitting. Or you spend one day, as I said, your accommodations at different hours of the day, and you do 10 pieces of content throughout that day, but you don't post it all on the same day. That's 10 pieces that you put over time, whatever you're comfortable with. That batch creation, or like if you're cooking or if you're an artist, get everything out that you need, do your batches of content, and then leave it. You don't have to get everything out every day to create fresh content. Don't forget stock photos. Don't forget stock video. The mood videos, I think one thing that really helped me, even on my personal accounts or even my client accounts, is if you have an iPhone, turn the live mode on your photos, because it will capture, if you go into it, 2 to 3 second video of all these different photos you've taken. Stringing those photos together sometimes create really beautiful reels that you can pop into one of those templates I told you about. So if you're going down, you're walking your dog down Millennium Trail or down the beach or whatever, down Main Street, taking photos. Now you've taken photos, I forgot to take video, but you actually have video, quick, short 2-second videos already in those photos. So it's worth turning that live option on. It takes more memory, but I think it's worth it. Then you spend time editing and prepping. A good scheduling post, you kind of set it and forget it. Very good. You don't have to stress of posting every day. The other piece of that I think is really important, I do this with, when I was at the agency, when I was a client, if you don't know what to post about, like you're really at the end of your rope, I don't know what topics, start searching in the app, in Instagram, and let them fill in the blanks for you. So usually when you put in a couple words, Prince Edward County or Ontario travel or whatever your topic is, artist, it usually provides you with a drop-down list of other keywords. Those are searches that are very frequently being asked in their app. They're not random suggestions. It's like a lot of people are actually, if they're, you search for this, a lot of other people are searching for this. Those will give you not only keywords to put into your content, but ideas for other pieces of content. Engaging and measuring is really good to look back on your content, seeing what worked well, what didn't. Reels, seeing what got views, what didn't, what got a lot of likes, a lot of shares. And then kind of take a second to think about the next month, the next year, how you're going to adjust things based on that content. I'll leave it here on a page of thought starters of ways to think of content, but I'll end our webinar here. And I don't see any. So Lindsay, you're going to have to walk me through it. Has there been any questions being dropped in the chat, or any new questions that anyone wants? But thank you.
There hasn't been any, but yeah.
But I talk too fast. So if there's any new questions, please feel free to add them in the chat. Any technical things or any specific questions about your accounts or your businesses, happy to answer.
I can see some questions in the chat. And can anyone else see those? Yes.
Okay, I was able to find it. Okay, I can.
Yeah. Would you suggest carving out a highly specific niche audience, or just to connect more broadly with PEC tourism in general?
Well,
are there pros and cons to these strategies?
Well, it depends on your business type and your end goal. If you feel like building a niche audience is good for you because you're the type of business that you can get conversions, which is either purchasing, you're selling, whatever you're trying to sell or get people to do, if you can get conversions anywhere in the world or any time of day, if you're a product, if you can sell a piece of art, or if you're an artisan, or if you ship, your product, whether it's beer or wine out, then yeah, if you want to niche out because it's worth it for you, I think that's important. But if you're, it's hard to be an influencer in a niche. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and not everybody has that. So just know that that's going to take a lot of time. If you don't have that much time to invest into social media, then you're better off kind of covering your bases. If you get too niche, you might turn off a certain travel that you actually would like to have come and stay at your place. It's a very specific thing. I think it depends on your business, your time you're willing to invest, and if you want to become an influential piece of, or person in that niche.
Okay, thank you. So here's an interesting one from Karen. Music is not royalty free. So how do people get away with using music that is not their own original tunes?
So the way it's done in Instagram, so there's ways that people do use them illegally. It's when they use other apps out there and they scrape music from something else, use it as their own original, even though it's somebody else's music. Oftentimes, Instagram ends up finding it and docking you and kind of blacklisting your content. But Instagram does have a collection of music available in app that you can use. Mm-hmm. Now, it's harder to do ads with that because that's when royalties really matter. But for your organic content that you're putting there in your app, they really do give proper accreditation to the artist. It's almost like a little bit of an advertising for the artist. So in that way, in that mode, it's all done in a legitimate way within that space.
Excellent. And I love the fact that our group here today, as some are, helping answer some questions to other people on the chat. So I apologize if I'm being repetitive, but those on the call may want to read through the chat as well. When it comes to boosting content and purchasing ads, is there a type of content you recommend to boost over others?
Yes, I recommend stunning visuals as the #1 criteria. Then second criteria would be video over still imagery. Always, as whether it's organic or an ad, video will perform better. And then if you want to get more granular, ones that have the strongest a hook. Again, the same thing that would perform better organically will perform better in ads. And then specifically speaking, I don't know if any of you have tested, lots of you have probably tested out targeting inside Facebook and Instagram. It's so great. We can have a whole call about that, but you can target geographically speaking who you want this ad to go to. You can target what they like and dislike. So if you do put in things that say sustainability and nature focus, you can put in specific keywords or other companies that are aligned with your company, that are bigger brands, let's say. So I want to show this to people in Toronto, Quebec, or like Montreal, Ottawa, whatever your geographic is, but who also like XYZ brands or interests or things like that. Then once you put in those keywords, having content that's very specific versus too vague, the more specific content works better in an ad and organically as well, but works better when it's connected to your targeting. So for example, if you can, well, it's really creepy, but you can target like milestones. So people who are getting married soon, people who are, there's such odd things you can target. So if you're doing something who's getting married soon, but your ad is really generic of like, come stay at my location or come visit me, blank, anyone, won't perform as well as make sure you host your this or have your, what's the dinner? Rehearsal dinner here, or stay here, have your guests stay here when you're having your wedding here. That will perform better in an ad.
Excellent. Good. And then just a couple of questions about ads in general. We're talking about Instagram, Meta ads. What about Google? Any thoughts to add?
Yeah, so
around
there's
that?
different ways to spend money with Google, lots of different ways. I think there's the SEM route, search engine marketing. So that is the kind of keyword ads of that. So people who are using the search engine, that's important. That's oh my God, a full-time job because their rules change every day as well in the same way that Instagrams and TikToks do. So I think that's worth, I think, investing in or looking into. Again, like I said, for the travelers, you saw that grid, social media really gets up there. So if you have to decide where you're spending time and effort, I recommend social media, and it's just more visual. But the other thing I really do like is YouTube and YouTube ads. That is something to look into. It's a little newer, like less people are using it, which is kind of a good thing. There's YouTube Shorts as well, which is their version of like stories and TikTok and all that. Spending money there, oftentimes you'll get more bang for your buck there. Again, rumor has it you get more bang for your buck on TikTok than you do on Instagram because less people are spending on TikTok. They're trying to get more people to spend there. Same with YouTube Shorts. You probably get more engagement or more reach if you spend money on YouTube Shorts than you would. It costs you more to get to where you need to go on Instagram. All those things are important, but again, it's hard to decide where to spend your money. If you're spending your money on TikTok, but you have no real account presence on TikTok, it feels a little disorienting for your audience. Okay, you can push them to a website, fine. But if you're spending effort and time in Instagram, which for the travel audience, it's a really good place to spend your time, then putting money in ads in that space makes sense for you because you've kind of put the time in of building your account there. But yes to Google. Google's great too. If I had to like split money and do Meta, TikTok, and Google is what I would do.
Excellent. So an express answer here. We just have 1 minute left. So just what's your point of view on Pinterest as an inspirational search? Is it worth having a presence there as well, or not relevant anymore?
Mm-hmm. I love Pinterest. I'm an avid Pinterest user, but you have to know that about the demographics. Get to understand, like Google the demographics of Pinterest. Find out a little bit more about what they're interested in. But Pinterest, just like Instagram, but even more so, is a visual, pretty platform. So if you have a hard time getting your content to look really pretty, it might be harder for you to get results there. But ads on Pinterest are great. I see lots of brands putting ads on Pinterest. Pinterest is very travel worthy. I think that's good too. Again, it's all about how much time and resources you have.
Excellent.
I do think people spend more time on Instagram, on TikTok in general, aggregately. They spend more time every day on Instagram and TikTok than they do on Pinterest. It's just something to keep in mind.
Okay, and speaking of time, I want to thank everyone for spending their lunch hour with us. Thank you, Crystal, for bringing this incredible insider's insight. I'm sorry, Lindsay's having some trouble with her microphone, so I'm sort of pinching in here. But look forward to some follow-up lunch and learns. Please keep connected to the county_connect and our newsletter to actually maybe Ali, could you put, or Lindsay, could you put our handle, our industry handle into the chat for us, for those maybe that don't follow us, and look forward to more lunch and learn opportunities together. And I think yep. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll be following up with 2 wonderful opportunities for 2 attendees on this call today. We'll follow up immediately today. So watch for your emails that you registered for this seminar with. And thank you so much for bringing that added service to our wonderful Prince Edward County operators and that are passionate about improving their social media, boosting their social media. So thank you, Crystal, and thanks to everyone. Thanks to Lindsay for putting this all together. We appreciate it. And Ali, keep up the good work.
Thanks,
Okay.
everyone. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Okay, bye-bye.